Hey everyone, it's Denise Brown. In 1996, I had launched a website for family caregivers. And one of my very first repeat visitors was Jenny, who cared for her grandmother. And she sent me an email and said, I love the content. I'm looking for a community too. Can you connect me to others who are caring for a family member? Now, I had no idea how to do that, but I said, sure, of course. And so I figured something out. And one thing led to another, led to another. Before you knew it, I had a lot of online support groups that I was managing. I'm a writer. I'm not a social worker. I'm not a nurse. And I intentionally am not a social worker or nurse, but I really felt compelled to bring my best skills into managing and moderating these conversations between really stressed out individuals. I wanted everybody to feel like I brought in skills that help move the conversation forward. So I'd heard about life coach training and I thought, okay, I'll do that. So in 2004, I went through training to be a life coach. And it was great. It was great. I am forever grateful I made that decision. Here's the thing though. Of all the different tools and strategies I learned in that training, there's only one that I used in all my conversations with family caregivers. What I figured out is a caregiving experience needs a different kind of coaching experience. So when a life coach, for instance, helps someone lose weight, there are plans, there's accountability, there's a commitment to create a certain result by a certain amount of time. When you're coaching family caregivers, it's very different. It's very different. We're really trying to figure out as family caregivers how to keep a life during a life of caregiving. And sometimes the last thing we need is someone who's trained in accountability. And in coaching, oftentimes the focus is on accountability, keeping your clients accountable for the goals that they say they want to complete. But in caregiving, we have goals, but honest to goodness, despite our best efforts, we often can't take the step to get to that goal because we just can't. And if you haven't had that personal caregiving experience, you can't understand the intensity of the pressure, responsibilities, and stress that a family caregiver has, which is why coaching for family caregivers is very different, very different. When we're in a caregiving experience, we're accountable for someone else's life. We are keeping someone else alive. And that's intense. So to have someone add in another level of accountability feels a little off-putting sometimes. So for instance, if I had a coach who didn't understand caregiving while I cared for my parents, my mom has died, I still help my dad, but when they both were alive, honest to goodness, there were days that I thought I could cry thinking about them now. And if I had a coach that I had committed to losing a certain amount of weight by a certain period of time, but I couldn't do it because the stress was too great, I had no control over my schedule and I was just trying to stay in business and keep my parents alive, that to me is enough. That's enough. So we need coaches who understand caregiving and who understand that a caregiving client already has the pressure of accountability. And that accountability is around keeping someone alive. And then there is a significant shift when we move from trying to keep someone alive to trying to keep someone comfortable. When we move from treating everything as it relates to our caree to just providing comfort. That's a really tough switch for our clients to make, which is why we need a coach who understands caregiving to help us with that switch. It's one of the reasons that I designed our certified caregiving consultant training the way it is. There's no accountability training for our CCCs. Instead, what I teach is this communication strategy that I learned in life coach training, which minimizes the stress that a family caregiver feels. And then what I created are what I call conversational assessments. Because as family caregivers, we want to engage in a conversation about what our life is like. Oftentimes, an assessment puts someone through a series of yes/no questions. And as a family caregiver, you are weary, absolutely exhausted from assessments where it's just yes, no, but that misses the whole picture. I actually took a caregiving assessment, almost 5 years ago, to test out an assessment tool to see if it would be appropriate for our consultants. And honest to goodness, I thought I was going to jump out of my skin going through this assessment of yes, no questions for a period of about 45 minutes that never pinpointed what my experience was really like. So instead, what we do are conversational assessments. We use a tool. It's a wheel. It's got 8 words in the wheel. We have probably about 45 different wheels. Sometimes I go a little crazy with the wheels, but they're so helpful. And then we start a conversation based on which word resonates with the client, because we want to hear what's really happening right now. We want to understand their intense pressure, their enormous responsibility, their worry about whether or not they're going to find their life during a life of caregiving. We want to hear them talk it out with us. So that's why coaching for family caregivers, I believe, is a very different form of coaching. And it's why I've really created this certified caregiving consultant training with the family caregiver in mind. In addition, I teach aspects of caregiving through concepts I've developed over a period of years, like the 6 stages of caregiving. I first developed that in 1997, and then I developed the 12 caregiving fatigues, and now we've got the 17 caregiving systems, because we really want to understand what it's like right now for a family caregiver. And those concepts are concepts that I revise and tweak and really think through to see how relevant are they today. So if you feel called to coach family caregivers, I'd love for you to think about our certified caregiving consultant training program. We just signed up a training program participant from South Africa. So that's our 8th country where we had a training enrollee come from. 8 countries. Isn't that fabulous? And we'd love for you to think about it. Love for you to join us too. We really do great work. We're really committed to making a difference for family caregivers, understanding what difference a family caregiver wants to make for themselves and wants to receive from a coach. Okay, so if you're interested, just go to our website. It's careyearsacademy.com. I'll repeat it for you again. It's careyearsacademy.com. Thanks so much. Thanks for all you do. Bye-bye.